If there's one thing Lupe Silva doesn't believe in, it's quitting, especially when it comes to his job.
Counting, I did it till, well, I'm still doing it, you know. I was a CPA until 2007, then I gave up on the license, I didn't renew it, and I've been on my own since then. You try to fight it and it gets...
The 69-year-old continues to file tax returns from his apartment in North Austin, where he lives by himself.
It's just a freedom, you know, that if I want to go somewhere at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can take off. Even though I don't, you know, I mean, there's no way I'm going to go at 2 o'clock in the morning to anywhere, you know, but the freedom is there.
In April 2005, the father of 5 decided he was going to move to Austin to be closer to his son Jose.
Well, you know, what happened was he got sick again, and you know, he'd been sick before, where he had a 5 bypass heart operation, and that was probably maybe in 2000. But he managed to get better, and I thought, well, that was kind of, he hit his worst spot. He'll start taking care of himself and take care of what he needs to and be all right.
But Lupe was far from all right. He is now one of the nearly 500,000 Americans who suffers from end-stage renal disease. It's when the kidneys progressively lose their ability to filter minerals and byproducts out of the blood. End-stage renal disease is caused by a number of factors, including diabetes, hypertension, and in Lupe's case, high blood pressure. To survive, Lupe must go through dialysis, a 3.5-hour-long treatment in which machines cleanse and filter his blood while circulating it back into his system.
When they tell you at the hospital you've got end-stage renal disease, and it scares you because you think that's the end of the world for you. But they don't know that, you know, the dialysis, you know, is the best way to overcome it, you know.
And it's a process Lupe must go through every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning.
I get up at 4 o'clock, and I'm not an early riser. I never was. You know, I always would get up, you know, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock because I was self-employed. But it gives me the opportunity to, you know, get there and then just rest for another hour or so. What's the diastolic? 8846.
Dialysis isn't the only option for patients. Diane Garcia is a clinical manager for Lupe's dialysis facility.
We have to go over all the treatments for kidney failure. One of them, of course, is kidney transplant. So every single patient is referred, given the phone number for the transplant office.
Before people can be placed on the registry, they must be evaluated by a transplant team at a nearby hospital. If the team believes the patient is a qualified candidate, the patient is then placed on the list. To qualify, candidates must have few medical problems, if any, and aside from their kidneys, be in great shape.
According to the United Network for Organ Sharing, 80,000 people in the Texas-Oklahoma region are waiting for a kidney transplant. That makes up nearly 70% of all those on the entire organ list.
James Tittman is the director of transplantation for North Austin Medical Center. He says there are 330 patients in his program, about 100 more than last year.
You know, the number of patients waiting for a kidney transplant is greater than 80,000, and we don't have a donor conversion rate that high for kidney transplants.
You don't feel anything. You don't feel it pulsing.
Transplant patients can receive an organ either from a relative, non-relative, or deceased donor. So Lupe turned to his son Jose for help. The two were not a match.
Yeah, I was disappointed, you know, because I really thought I could. It was the easiest for me. Of all the siblings that we have, it was going to be easiest for me. And yeah, I was real disappointed I couldn't do that. You know, I was hoping to do that for him.
There's no telling when someone will receive that kidney. The wait for an organ varies from patient to patient and depends mostly on availability and compatibility. Even if all requirements are met, transplantation may not always be the answer.
Transplant is certainly the best option for end-stage renal disease, but it's not the best option for all patients. And sometimes a patient is too sick or has too many comorbidities that the risk of the surgery outweighs the benefit.
But Diane Garcia says the clock is always ticking for dialysis patients.
Right now, I think the average length of time of survival on dialysis throughout the nation is about 5.5 years.
Lupe has been on dialysis for 4 years.
I know he has mentioned, dealing with depression at various points in his life. And, I start wondering about that too, because now it's, 4 years is a long time to be on dialysis. It's one of those things where we start, in the back of my mind, start thinking, he's 69 now, and how long will they keep him on the transplant list before they get to a point and say, well, it's just not a viable option anymore. And then it sort of becomes, what happens at that point.
The alternative is for me to just forget about it and just be happy where I am and just continue with life, because I can still do a lot of things. I just take it a day at a time, That's all it is, yeah.
And now he's getting back to where he's really engaged in a lot of things. Maybe he's gotten to the point where whatever time he's got, he's going to just use it well and just take it as it comes.
30 more minutes. You can do it.
Yeah.
Every effort has been made.
Michelle Segovia is with Texas Organ Sharing Alliance, or TOSA, a nonprofit organization dedicated to increasing the number of organ donors in the region.
We do a lot of community relations, health fairs, presentations, talk to people in their workplace, talk to kids in school, congregations and churches. So we really get out to the people.
And this is one of TOSA's bracelet, and I've worn it ever since I became a volunteer. And I take it to places, and people ask me, well, what's the wristband about? Because everybody wears a band now, but very few people wear a green band. So they say, well, what's a green band about? And so you tell them, that you want people to donate their lives, and you explain it to them, and maybe they'll register. That's one thing.
It got Lupe's son Jose to register. After attending an event with TOSA, Jose decided if he couldn't save his father's life, he'd try to save someone else's.
I think it was after that I signed up to be an organ donor. And I've had that on my driver's license, and that I've already talked it over with my wife. So yeah, that's, should anything happen, definitely just take anything and everything they can take. But because we look at it from this side.
Applicants like Jose can register as an organ donor when they apply for a driver's license or identification card. From September 2006 to October 2008, nearly 200,000 people registered via the Department of Public Safety.
It's something that scares a lot of people. Why my organs? Because they're very part of you. Your kidneys, your liver, your pancreas. Everything. But they don't know that you can save at least 50 lives.
But with a large number of people signed up to be a donor, how is it that patients like Lupe continue to live on dialysis?
There's other things to consider besides just tissue typing. There's age. There's the size of the donor, the size of the kidney, and of course the HLA, the matching of the kidney.
Lupe will remain on dialysis treatment until he receives that phone call, letting him know they found a match.
I want to stay active as long as I can. I can still use my legs. I can still use my arms. Everything is fine except, just high blood pressure, and I work with that.
Every now and then I wonder, whether it'll get to the point where he says, I just don't feel like doing this anymore. But the way he is right now, I don't see that happening for another, 10, 15 years, that he could do that, stay in that. Well, at least that's what I'm hoping.